What's up, real ones? Welcome to Let's View It, the sarcastic, thought-provoking, entertaining channel on YouTube. And when it comes to my channel, the one thing I ask is listen with your ears, then process with your brain. Don't listen with your emotions. I made a video about Raven saying she wants to be called an American and not an African American, and her whole premise was because she didn't know her roots. So I made a video that wanted to point out the ironicies. Ironicies? Is that even a word? Well, for now it is. Ironicies that she's saying she wants to be called American because she doesn't know her roots, because her roots were stolen by America. So I simply found it ironic and kind of ignorant that she fully identifies as the same people or country that took her identity. That's it. And then all of a sudden, I started getting comments that say,
why'd you even have to bring up that America stole their roots? Or why did you bring up oppression? Black people have the same amount of chance to be successful as anybody else.
And although I don't mind the comments, I never talked about oppression, and I never once mentioned how easy it is or is not for black people to succeed. In fact, wouldn't it be kind of silly to bring up oppression in black people while showing an interview with a black girl who's famous and a millionaire talking to a blacker girl who's more famous and a billionaire? Think about it. That doesn't go hand in hand. And I'm not the smartest person, but I'm usually not that stupid. I'm not just gonna hang myself out there and let people have at it. Like I'm going to talk about success in the black culture while showing two of the most successful black people interacting. Come on, give me more credit than that. I guess if you want to say I mentioned any oppression in any way, it would have been America taking her roots. But the reason why I said it is because that was Raven's whole premise of why she said what she said. And it was ironic that the victim is taking, I guess, yes, the oppressor's name. That's it. But the video was not about oppression at all. Let me give you another example of what I was trying to say, because I know when race is involved, everybody's brains get cloudy, and for some reason thought process just stops and they go strictly to emotions and any other connections to whatever race stuff they heard. So let's take race out of it and let me give you another example where you could probably more relate. Let's say you're a little baby and you're born to the Jones family. So you're little baby Jones. And one night, someone breaks into your house, deletes your parents, and steals you and raises you with their family. So you grow up as a Smith. Now one day, you find out that your real parents were deleted and your name used to be such and such Jones. But then you go, well, I wasn't with them the whole time. I know nothing about them, so I'm a Smith. And you say it so proudly with your head up. That is basically the same thing Raven is doing. That's all I'm saying. That's all. But now let me get into this video. This video is probably going to be another emotional one, another controversial one. It's probably going to collect a handful of thumbs down, but that's okay. I already understand that we have certain attachments ever since we were kids to the way we perceive things and how we think of things, especially when it comes to our country. But this video right here is going to bring up a topic. Does our country brainwash us into thinking that we're better and greater than we are? So you already know. Let's view it.
And when it comes to this video, Madeline turned him every which way but loose. Let's see.
I made a video talking about how, as an American, if I want to be on the right side of history 99% of the time, the easiest way to do this is just to not agree with anything the United States government is telling me. If the United States tells me a country's my enemy, it's probably not. If the United States tells me somebody's my ally, they're probably up to no good. This is the simplest shortcut to having a pretty good opinion about foreign policy that you as an American can take if you don't have time to research things. Fortunately, I do have time to research things. And that is why when this person said, if you don't like it here, you should try going to North Korea, Iran, or Afghanistan, I had to laugh. These are hilarious examples of other countries to choose, and I will explain why. First of all, North Korea, I as an American am not allowed to visit. I think I spent a lot of my childhood assuming this was because North Korea didn't want people going there and seeing what was going on. Actually, people from other countries can and do visit North Korea, but you know who's not allowed to visit North Korea? Americans. And it's not because North Korea won't allow us, but our own government will not allow us. Instead, they're content to make sure anything we think we know about the region comes from one source primarily, Radio Free Asia, a fake news source started by the CIA with the expressed goal of being anti-communist propaganda. Any weird story you've heard about North Korea, like that everybody there has to get the same haircuts? Yeah, that probably came from Radio Free Asia, which to this day is funded entirely by the United States government. So, babe, I cannot go to North Korea because the United States will not allow me. Because they do not want Americans to see the disconnect between the propaganda machine that they have created, telling you things about North Korea, and what actually happens in North Korea. The second example, Iran, is somehow even more perplexing for you to bring up. Because if you know anything, you know that the democratically elected prime minister of Iran was overthrown in a violent coup by the U.S. government. Why? Because he was going to nationalize the oil fields in American business. So instead, we overthrew him and installed a right-wing dictatorship that was sympathetic to American interests. A puppet government, if you will, that so violated and infuriated the Iranian people that they overthrew our puppet government, dispelled all of the Americans, and put in instead a reactionary government whose main goal was to oppose U.S. intervention in any capacity. Everything you don't like about Iran, babe, you don't like because the United States government did it. That's right. My country, the United States, destabilized all of Iran for decades, dismantling their democracy because their democratic voting process led to a result that was not favorable to us. Not exactly the most ethical course of action, if you ask me. And last, Afghanistan. I can only assume you must be extremely young to include Afghanistan on this list, because if you have been alive for nearly as long as I have, I am 37 years old, the United States efforts in your lifetime to destabilize Afghanistan. The CIA was so heavily involved in Afghanistan, funding and training covert terrorist organizations there to fight against communism in the region, that we actually kind of created a big problem for ourselves. What was it? Say it with me. The Taliban and Osama bin Laden. Yes, all of that came from CIA funding in Afghanistan. Then our government proceeded to bomb the shit out of Afghanistan in the wars that followed 9/11. We didn't like what we had created, I guess, displacing nearly 6 million people in Afghanistan. So everything you don't like about Afghanistan right now, yeah, that's directly the result also of the United States. This is what I mean when I say, if you want to know what opinion you should take about foreign policy as an American to be on the right side of history, USA bad is the opinion that will get you to the right place 99% of the time.
Moral of the story, we not welcome over there.
But I got one question for you guys. It's a question that's been on my mind the last couple of days, ever since I made that Raven video. And that is, what does it mean to be American? If you tell me you're American, what are you actually telling me? What does that mean? What does that encompass? Comment below! How many of y'all already knew this stuff? But if someone told me right now, hey, Tyrone, did you know you can't go to North Korea? I would think it was because of North Korea. Our minds immediately go to, well, it's the other country not letting us. Because we're told our country is so free, that our country is so fair to us, that our country is looking out for our health and trying to make us live so long and get us as much money as possible, that we find it unfathomable that our country could do anything negative to us, especially stop us from leaving our free country. But all those examples that she's given, they're not the only examples. They are constantly lying to us at school about our history. They change every story to make us look like the good guys or to make us look nice. Every story, even Thanksgiving, about the pilgrims and the Indians showing us how to grow corn, that's not how the story goes. George Washington chopping down a cherry tree, that was a negative thing.
The real cherry
So I'm sure you heard the story of George Washington and the cherry tree. The Judiciary Act of 1789 is the law that was written into place that made us 3/5 of a human which made it okay to use us as property and chattel. This was after the malaria fever and yellow fever blankets and Thanksgiving, just to put it all in a chronological perspective. George Washington was used as a hatchet man, thus the fall guy for these heinous acts. The flag that used to be flown here can also be seen in Morocco, and that flag is the cherry tree that George Washington chopped down.
Remember when they tried to convince us to go to war with Iraq? And we're all like, we don't want to go to war. So what did they do? They attacked our own towers so that we would get pissed, think that Osama did it, so now we're willing to go to war. America has slapped themselves in the face so many times and pointed out someone else saying they did it so we can go to war. And while we go through school, everybody talks so highly about our country, America, that we blindly believe that we don't do no wrong. Even if we're doing wrong in our own country, we will turn a blind eye to it and say, that's not like us. That's not like us to do this in our country. And what that is called is American exceptionalism. Here's a video explaining it more.
American exceptionalism. We're the best. We're the greatest. Even right now, people who saw January 6th will fix their lips and say, this is not who we are. What are you talking about? We just saw it on television. It's clearly who we are. What are you saying? Donald Trump wins presidency. This is not who we are. Did you go to the rallies? Did you see what was happening on TV? It's clearly a part of who we are. Police kill black men in the streets. This is not who we are. It's been who we are since inception, since day one. Why do we keep acting like we're not this? Because we're programmed to think that we're better than we actually are. And we're going to have to come to terms with that if we're actually going to improve. And until we do, there won't be improvement. There's people who don't want to convict Donald Trump or any of his cronies because of the way it looks to the world. You know, we're not a banana republic. We don't, jail our former politicians. We don't do that here. Well, we might want to start. We might want to start and fast.
I'm going to stay away from the Trump and Biden conversations. Those go wrong all the time, and that topic gets too many emotions going. And when too many emotions are going, your brain stops working. But what the guy is saying, he's absolutely right. We're always told we're the best. From the day we're born to the day we die, we are repeatedly told how great we are, how we do no wrong, how our military is the best, how we're the richest country, how we're the freest country, how we're a democracy. We vote on the president. We don't like racism. We don't accept police brutality. But at the same time, we have it all. We have it all in bunches and bunches. But the most important thing about it is why they want us to think we're the best. And the reason why they always want to think we're trying our best or doing our best is so that it doesn't change. It's not supposed to get better. This whole thing is designed so that they stay in control, so that they keep the power, so that they keep the money. It's supposed to give the perception that we are better so we don't have to do better. Because it's like he said, until we accept that this is part of who we are, it will never get better. But then if it gets better, then that will contradict what the elites and the people who control this world want. They don't want it better. It is better to them. They have the power. They have the money. They can do whatever they want. And if you were in that position, do you want it better? Of course not, unless you're a really, 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 really good person, because that means less for you or more for others. However you want to look at it. Less power, less money for you, or more power and more money for others, which is still less power and less money for you. I'm telling you right now, America got us brainwashed good. They make you work all your life, then take some of that money for themselves and say, hey, I need this money for you so I can protect you, keep you safe, and keep you healthy, which will make you happy. You know what that sounds like? A pimp. What does a pimp do? Tells the hoe to work. She makes the money. He comes through, takes the money, but she's fine with it because He has to keep her safe. He has to keep her happy. He has to keep her protected. And really, it's for the benefit of her. America is pimping us. So now that you know, America could just be brainwashing us, all I need you guys to do is comment below. Tell me what you think. Have you ever heard of American exceptionalism? Or do you think America always tells us the truth because it's America and that's what they do? But while you're telling me your thoughts, I'm also gonna need you to hit that bell like the hunchback. Also click that hitchhiker button and subscribe with me. And I'll see you on the next trip. Day and